Okay, this is just going to be a quick King Canada 5000 watt silent diesel generator update progress report. So you can see I got it sitting outside. I also have a jumper pack and a push button. And that cover is loose, but it's not off. I figured out how to shut this off manually, no longer having to use the compression release. If you remember on this one here, the brain box around the back here, that white box, is dead. So instead of having to find a replacement, which I have been looking, but they're not out there, I figured out a bypass for that. What I'm going to be doing is adding a push button start and a push pull cable. Obviously the push button start will start it, the push pull cable will shut it off. Down in here at the actual throttle body, you have a screw right here. It's currently now in the stop position, but if it moves all the way down, that's the run position. So that screw was actually pretty tight in the run position. So I wonder if somebody was using the compression release to shut this down, since that was overly tight, way too tight for that cable to even pull it to shut it off. I wish this started working, but it hasn't. Also, it's not hooked up on the other end, but the glow plug does work. We do have power, and the key will control the glow plug. I don't know if the key controls any of the other electronics, but obviously keep the key in place. So what I'm going to do is add a fusible link off the battery up to a push button start, possibly right here. There's nothing really on the other side other than the fuel filter, which is all done. Fuel system's done, bleeded, all ready to go on this. So add the push button start right here, and the push pull cable possibly over here. It might have to go in the end right here, just so it gets enough length to be able to actually pull the cable. But I need to find one of these collars right here, basically to put the cable down into, and then down here is where it will connect up to here. So it's actually going to be a very short cable, so that's why I'm probably going to have to figure out a way to put it in there and make it work. I could possibly make the solenoid work electronically. I might look into that before putting in the push-pull cable, but I think this cable might actually be seized. Well, maybe not. It'd be actually kind of nice to actually reuse the electronic shutdown. Just bypass everything and just put a toggle switch or something in here to shut it off without having to put a push-pull cable in. I might look into that as well, but as of right now, it's a push-pull cable, and that's probably the way I'm going to end up going. I'll show you at the back side what I'm talking about. This here is the electronic solenoid. This used to be actually pulled back quite a bit, but since I pulled on the cable, I can actually move the cable. So it might not be a bad idea to put power to this to see if this still does work. It's actually 1, 2, 3 wire setup. So probably a common ground, and it possibly reverses polarity. I really don't know how that works. All I would want it to do is pull it to shut it off. Unfortunately, by doing it like this, it bypasses a lot of the safety shutdowns, which for me, for this, I will mention that to whoever buys it. Make sure you do keep an eye on the oil. You might want to add a standalone oil pressure gauge just to keep an eye on the oil. But the oil light on the front panel will still function. You can probably attach that to an alarm. So it's not too big of a deal. It just needs to be mentioned whenever I do go and sell this. I'm just trying to make it easier to start and run and work. That's the whole goal right now. Basically, turn the key on, run the glow plug if you need to, push a button to start it, and have a push button to shut it off, sort of thing, or a toggle switch to shut it off. But that's where we're at right now on this. So making a little bit of progress on it, slowly but steadily. But as you can see, snow, diesel, very heavy generator. Don't want to run it near the house. Definitely don't want to run it in the garage. And it's cold enough that it's affecting batteries, but it's not really cold enough that's affecting me. So, and that battery there is not the greatest, but most likely it will be staying in here whenever I do go and sell this machine. So personally, I want to get this done sooner rather than later. Most definitely a push-pull cable will be the easiest setup. It's just seeing if I can cut the cable down short enough and be able to get enough room. This is probably going to be mounted here. That's the most ideal spot, because here you can't. Here you don't really want to, so you kind of want to mount it in that area right there. And the cable I have is already short, but just a matter of cutting it down even shorter and making it work, sort of thing. But there we go. Also, another thing with the push-pull cable, making sure it's long enough to make that complete throw, that it needs to shut this on and off. So that's another thing that will have to be measured and figured out. Will that cable actually be long enough or have enough throw to actually move this to the start position, and most importantly, the stop position. So a few more things need to get figured out slowly but steadily. This will be done. This is my next project that I'm working on, since one other project is now done. It's this one. Then I have an engine I'll be working on, but this is kind of, I want to get this done so I can get this relisted and get rid of it. So anyways, quick update. That's really what I'm working on right now. I'm done for today. I gotta do some more research, try and find either a collar to hold the cable in place, or tomorrow come out and put power to that solenoid and see if it functions or not, because that could be what failed. So I'm kind of wondering if that possibly failed and the control box is also dead, or did that fail separately, or is that controlled separately, which I don't think that's controlled separately. I believe that would be controlled by the control box, since if it gets into a low oil pressure situation, it shuts the engine off. Because I learned that with the other diesel generator. Does everything work perfectly fine on it, the black one. This one here was cheaper, but was sold as non-running. It does run, and it was also sold as having a bad regulator, which it does not. It regulates power fine. It was turned up way too high. So I kind of explained, somebody was in here definitely playing with the control. They definitely over idled it and were locking it in the on position, and probably using the compression release to shut it down. Or they were using a screwdriver, because you can just take a star screwdriver, stick it on there, and shut it off. But that will strip out eventually. That's definitely not a permanent solution. So I'll talk to them later. Please keep it redneck like always, and please subscribe and comment.